Hello? Oh. Right now. Okay. See you in a bit.
Who was that?
Is someone very close to us?
Someone very close to us?
There's been an arrival.
An arrival?
An arrival. There is a whole new queer and pleasant stranger.
Huh.
Suddenly emerged.
Tell me more.
Well, they will I believe they all already are a listener.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, and they've turned up, and we shall be guardians thereof.
Oh, goodness.
So, we need to pop up and check on them.
Oh.
And we can tell them all about our week and what we've played and listened to. Does mean we won't be able to record a show.
Well, we're gonna have to, you have to do one next week and then, think of something to do as an intro.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura K. Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet. And welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's that show where there's two queer trans ladies and we talk about our weeks and what we've played and watched and listened to and do skits and silly voices.
It's true.
How are you this week?
I'm tired.
Same. And it's not going to get any less tiring.
No.
August is a busy month for us. We've
Although the last week and 2 weeks have been probably a bit busy the most.
Yeah, we did 20 hours of train journeys over a week, and we then travelled halfway across the country in a van.
Yep.
I went flying abroad.
You did?
I've got to go flying abroad again soon.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to go travelling around. We got a bunch of stuff happening.
Got a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah. We got to Quip's recording day last week, and then
we had to run away.
We had to run away because life happened.
It did.
It very much happened.
So happened.
But other than being tired, are you having a good week?
Yeah, it's been good so far. I mean, it's only Monday, which is weird because we usually record it on a Tuesday.
Indeed, it's been 2 weeks since we last recorded this, but they've been 2 eventful and positive weeks.
There's a
I
lot
think.
going on, yes.
Shall we talk about things we've played / done this week?
Yeah, let's talk about what we played with this week.
Yeah. So do you wanna start us off?
Okay. Well, I've been playing more Dragon Quest Builders. I've finally seen the end of that.
Oh, you've seen the
Yes.
You've seen the ending.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It recovered itself quite well.
Yeah, that
considering all that stuff from chapter 3.
That story beat in chapter 3 that really, really annoyed me.
Hmm.
By the end, I didn't really mind about it, but I still think it was a really poor decision.
Yes.
But I didn't care in hindsight because it did stick its ending.
Yeah, it definitely did. But yeah, I'm still excited to keep playing that.
Yeah.
Some more. There's, I think I said before, the fact that you get your my pet island thing quite early on means that you're sort of working on it throughout the game, and you're not.
Yeah.
It's not so easy to just go, oh, it's starting a whole new thing again. I can't be bothered
I
did with the first one.
I think what helps is the structure for it, because as you said, they start letting you play around with that island early and encourage you to build your first 3 big structures early on.
Yeah.
But on top of that, when you complete the main story, you unlock more blueprints of things to make, more places to go. You unlock more stuff so that it encourages you to go, hey, you finished the story, keep going, and also probably go back to that island you started making. It's enough of an encouragement that it got me to stick around, and I am sort of wanting to keep going post-game.
Yeah, definitely. I need some time, but yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yes. So what about you? Have you played anything else?
I'm going to put this in played because it doesn't really go anywhere else. I did some laughter yoga this week. That's a thing I did.
Tell me about that laughter yoga.
So, I've heard about this general concept in some form or another before. I think the first time I heard about the idea was an episode of the podcast Oh No, Ross and Carrie.
Oh no.
Which I think I've talked about before, which talks about fringe science and often debunking religious stuff and nonsense things, but this is one of the few things they haven't been too critical of. The basic idea is the idea goes that no matter where a laugh comes from, it'll make you feel better. Whether it's a forced laugh or a genuine one, there is something about the act of laughing that gets your body producing chemicals that make you feel good. So the idea of this laughter yoga thing was basically, for an hour, a lot of activities encouraging you to force laughter and be silly to the point that you start noticing other people looking a bit silly and then have genuine laughs at them, which then gets everyone laughing. And it was a very nice experience. Examples of some of the types of activities we were doing involved trying to play musical instruments, like sort of airplay musical instruments, but rather than make the sound of the instrument, we had to make the instrument sound using laughs. Doing sports, but like, for example, playing imaginary tennis, but every time you hit the ball, you're like, ha! 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 Things like this to just get you doing those things. But like, some of these were really interesting. Like, one of them that I thought worked really well once they'd built up to it was having people all lie down on the grass where everyone's head is resting on someone else's chest. Mm-hmm. And then they just get people to start laughing. And it had this really interesting effect where feeling someone laughing under your head has a very instinctual response and you end up laughing along. It created this weird moving ripple of laughter that was quite something. We had to try and communicate, like tell jokes via only laughs, trying to use like the cadence of speech to get across like the way that a joke comes across.
Okay.
It was all things like this that, when you describe them from the outside, seems like a weird idea. In practice, it really works. It was a really fun icebreaker to get used to and comfortable around people that I hadn't shared a word with, but I still felt pretty comfortable with by the end.
Yeah.
Involved in that was also some sort of general, like, stretching, exercisey stuff. And we ended with some sort of breathing exercises and meditation. And as silly as the idea sounds, I came out of it feeling really positive. I had a real sort of just positive feeling the rest of the day. So, as silly of an idea as it may sound on paper, it was genuinely quite fun to do silly laughing exercises in a group.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Have you played anything else?
Yeah, I played Transcribed.
Oh, tell me about that.
So this was on the Switch discount section recently.
It was
but it was showing us free.
It was free if you owned, like, there was a list of like 15 or something games that it's like, if you own one of these, you can have Transcribed for free.
So we got Transcribed for free.
Yeah. How is it?
It's alright. I've not really played a huge amount of it yet, but the initial intro area, it's like, learn how to fly this thing, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's going to be asteroids, because it's these weird blobby things flying at you. Apparently you're piloting a probe, and you seem to be killing off bacteria or something.
Okay.
It's very weird, and I wasn't really paying a huge amount of attention to the story, because I just wanted to see what the game was like.
Oh, gameplay-wise,
it is a mix between asteroids and I can't remember what the game is. It's like you get a swirl of jewels and you fire different coloured balls at them, and you'll add one, and when you get 3 together, it'll pop them, and you can do like chains if the loop starts to trigger itself.
Bejeweled, I think.
Yeah. Is it Bejeweled? It might be.
Yeah, something in that.
Yeah.
Realm.
Yeah, so it's basically that, but with asteroids, because you'll have random things flying around. You shoot them, sometimes you'll get a power-up, sometimes you'll get XP, sometimes you'll get, like, just a coloured block that you need to fire into the stream of things. Sometimes you'll have to open little doors by firing the blocks into, like, little panels on the side, and then fight bosses, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's an interesting little game. It's got upgrades. I do like a game with upgrades.
Oh, good upgrade system's hard to say no to.
Mm-hmm. So, and it seems like you can redo levels to try and grind some XP and maybe push on a bit further that way. Yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it so far.
Yeah, not bad for something you got for free.
No. Have you got any others?
I think that's all I played really this week. I also finished Dragon Quest Builders 2, and I'm feeling very similar about it. What about you?
I did one other thing.
What did you play?
I flew a kite.
Oh, you flew a kite.
I flew a kite.
You kept it in the air for like 2 hours.
Yeah. Which was weird, because I've not flown a kite in years. The last time I tried to fly a kite, I got one of those 2-string kites.
Oh, yes.
And I just couldn't really work out what to do with that very well.
That's fair.
So, yeah. Also, I didn't have anyone to help me get it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that was part of the problem. But
so you had a single string kite this
single
time?
string kite. It's all rainbowy.
It is a rainbowy.
It is. It looks like a big rainbow arrow with a tail on it. Yeah. Saturday I managed to keep it up for a good couple of hours. Sunday, the wind was a bit changeable.
Yeah, you kept it up reasonably well.
It kept being like wind. Oh, this is lovely. No, I'm gone now. Bye.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just occasionally it would just nosedive out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was just completely cut out. But yeah, it was. I've not flown a kite in ages, and it was kind of weirdly satisfying.
I've not
tamed the very sky.
I've not flown a kite since I was about 10 or 11. Last time I flew a kite, my cousin broke his arm, and that was quite a thing. And I held this kite, and it stayed in the air, and no one broke their arm, so I count that as a win.
That is a win. So then, time for this. Oh.
Welcome! We are back now with the latest episode of Video Game Reviews That Are Totally Real Monthly. Our guest reviewer is here. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I've worked very hard on this particular game.
Ah, yes. We got to go and see this game in action over the weekend. Could you tell us about Field?
Well, it's a lot of work, to be honest, to play this. You really need a lot of peripherals. There's the plough peripheral, I believe that's about £500. Then, there's a selection of animals. Cows can be very, very expensive. There's a pig over there, a couple of sheep. The microtransactions for this game are not quite so micro.
Indeed. We got to spend several hours experiencing Field. The graphics were fantastic. It looked incredibly beautiful.
Yes, well, you see, the grass has been really well ground on recently, so it's grown quite lush. And the sun was out, so it looked all extra high contrast and like that Windows backdrop.
Oh, exactly. I could feel the sun on me. It was a beautiful feeling. I got to experience all sorts of little mini-games while we were there. Flying a kite was great. Lying in the grass was great. Can you tell me about any mini-games I might have missed?
Did you see Dancing in the Tent? There's
yes.
A lot of good music. You can select a number of different tracks. I believe if you purchase additional DJs, you can actually get like a whole new sections of music.
Oh, wonderful. So, if people want to experience Field for themselves, like, what console do they get it on? How do they get this?
I believe that's available on Aerith. So you just head out into the countryside and just check out Field today.
And it's out now?
It is out now,
and it's an Earth exclusive?
An Earth exclusive, as far as we're aware.
Wonderful. Well, that's fantastic. Go and check out Field today.
It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Hey, so have you heard about SnuggleCon?
No, tell me about SnuggleCon.
Well, it's a new convention, basically designed for snuggliness. All things snuggly and good. You can test out all the latest stuffies, see how how good squish they have, how good soft they have. Mm-hmm. How good that is. I understand there's going to be a whole hall just for blankets.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
So lots of different textures to try out, weighted blankets.
Different colours, I assume.
Certain different colours, different patterns.
Oh.
It's different textures, obviously. Not everyone likes the same things. Heavier, lighter. It's going to be a lot of different, just really snug blankets.
Wonderful. What else have they got?
Well, there's a whole another section where they're going to be doing special exclusive onesies and soft pyjamas.
Ooh, can you tell me about those? What sort of special ones have they got there?
So they've got fleecy ones. They've got ones with like faux fur on them, so you can look like a bear, I suppose. It's very cute and very soft, and also, once you've finished, there's a quiet zone where you can just do consensual cuddles.
Wonderful. When and where is SnuggleCon?
SnuggleCon is on next weekend, and tickets are available from snugglecon.lol.net, and you can get yourself all the snuggling you need.
I can't wait.
Don't wait.
I have to. It's next weekend.
Okay, you'll just have to wait a little bit.
Okay.
But then don't wait.
No, then don't wait.
But don't wait to get your tickets,
Okay.
because they might sell out. It's very snuggly. And a lot of people want snuggles. The world is quite hard-edged, so snuggling makes it all better, I guess. At least for an hour or so.
Yeah. So, what have you put in your eyes this week?
Eyes? Oh, I put so many things in my eyes this week. We put some things in our eyes this week.
What things did we put in our eyes?
Well, we went and saw a display of psychedelic art.
Oh, yes. Was this the collection from psychedelic-art.com?
That's the one.
Yeah, it's quite a thing.
Yeah. So we went and stood in a tent with loads of pieces of art painted on canvas.
Lots of colours that were designed to look good under a black light.
Yeah, big UV bulbs all over the place.
Yeah.
And you could wander around and see this strange glowing art.
Indeed, and it took us a while to realise that a lot of the pieces were psychedelic versions of existing pieces of artwork.
Yes.
I didn't realise until you mentioned that one of them was Beyonce.
Yes.
But very purple and pink.
Very purple and pink, and in that sort of prayer pose. Pretty sure it's Beyonce.
Yeah, no. Once you said it, I was like, no, that is Beyonce.
And then there was the other one of the person in like a jacket and rolled up sleeves holding their hands out in front of them.
With the sort of melty eyeball.
With a melty eyeball floating between the hands. And I'm pretty sure that's Darren Brown.
Yeah, we think that's a Darren Brown one, but yeah, it was real fascinating art.
Yeah.
There was a lot to be gleaned from looking at some of the pieces from a distance, or looking at them up close, or looking at them from different angles in the room.
Yeah, we had quite a lot of fun of we wandered around looking at everything up close, then we sort of did another circuit looking the other direction. And
we took our
things.
Yeah, we took our time discussing what we thought about the art.
Yeah.
Without feeling pressured to, have fancy correct opinions.
Well, exactly. Also, there's quite a lot of music going on in there, so you could really only hear your own conversations for the most part.
Yeah, it was a really nice place to spend a couple of hours. It's the kind of thing that I don't know, if I've not tried going on the website, I don't know how well you get the same impression of the art, not in person, because it's all very meticulously hand-painted, and the being under a black light really helps to give a lot of the effect it's going for.
Yeah. It's stunning stuff, and I would like to see more of it. Oh, also the video that was playing in the Spaceman space.
Oh, yes, that music video of everything sort of warping and unfolding upon itself.
It was like fractal art, but
of cities and things.
There was sort of city aspects, and there were more sort of biological-looking bits.
Yeah, it's from a heavy metal music video that we have seen, and we can't
don't
place.
think it's actually that. I think it might be an original piece.
Oh.
But very much in that same style.
Okay, we may have confused it with something else then, but it was quite the artistic experience to go
it was
around.
Stunning. And the fact that you had to sort of stare into the face of a quite tall space person.
If you ever happen to be in a place where this tent full of psychedelic art happens to be, it's quite a thing to go and look at.
Yeah, definitely recommend that.
Yeah.
And that's psychedelic-art.com.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you got any others?
I watched a person do contact juggling, which is a fascinating thing. If any of you listening have never seen contact juggling, it's the sort of people that have a clear crystal ball, and they'll move their hands in such a way that it looks like the ball is staying stationary in place. They'll do interesting things where it looks like they're manipulating this ball in a slightly magical way. It's a really fascinating thing to watch, and I met a really interesting contact juggler who got into a bit of a discussion with them about the art of it. They got into it as a juggler first, and the reason why they stuck with contact juggling was that they find it really interesting because it works so much on physics. It looks like you're sort of rolling this thing around and doing all sorts of magical stuff with it, but it's all very controlled, dexterity, physics-based. Very much like puppetry, in that you're trying to stop people from seeing how you're making it happen and get them to focus on, the show that you're putting on with it. which is a really interesting perspective. It's not something I've really considered, and it gave me a fresh understanding of that form of art. So, I really enjoyed that. What about you?
Well, I also watched the contact juggling. Very impressive. I have a contact ball.
Indeed.
But sometime I really need to learn how to use the damn thing.
Yeah.
But also got to see some flame stuff.
Oh yes, the stick that's on fire that gets spun around.
Yeah. So very much in the sort of style of flame poi and all that sort of thing. You've got all the good spinnies and good spinnies on fire.
Yeah.
And there was lots of really stunning object manipulation stuff. So that there was the flame poi, flame stuff, which was amazing. I think someone was doing flame poi at some point as well.
I believe so. Yeah.
There was a lot of different glow poi, glow stuff as well.
Oh, that thing that left the really cool trails as it spun.
Yeah,
that was pretty fascinating to see.
Yeah, there was some very cool bits over there.
Yeah, that light staff, when it was being spun, looked like a fucking lightsaber, like leaving a trail through the air. It was quite a magical sight.
Well, I think it was all ultra bright LEDs, so it sort of burns into your retina.
Well,
but in a good way.
Yeah, in a cool way.
Yeah. I also saw someone spinning flags, which is not a skill I've ever really worked. So rather than having poi, which is like a string with a ball on, it's a metal chain of beads.
Okay.
That runs all the way down, so it's the same weight pretty much all the way down.
Yeah.
And then you have like a flag that comes off the side.
Okay.
So the midpoint on it is very difficult or very different to poi to find.
Yeah.
Because you're spinning it. It's really hard to describe, but without holding it. But it's a little bit easier to do things like isolations. But other stuff can be a bit sort of weird to work out.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't recommend doing too many wraps because it's heavy metal balls.
Yeah.
Whacking into you.
I also saw someone twirling a spreader bar. That was quite a thing to see. There was some people dressed up like the child catchers from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yes, it was bondage child catching.
Yeah, but not catching children. They were catching consenting adults.
Yes,
with their very teasy collection of BDSM equipment.
Yes,
it was quite a sight.
Yeah, sort of portable cage on a little trap being pulled along.
Portable cage with there's some rope and several paddles along the side. What are you doing with the? Oh, hello.
And describing the spreader bar as a twirling stick.
Oh yes.
Come and have a try, why not? And getting people to sit in the cart while they pull them along with the spreader bar on.
Yeah.
Through the streets.
I watched some other things this week.
Yeah.
Since we last recorded, I went to Berlin and saw the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships.
Heck, you like Yu-Gi-Oh! How was that?
I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! like a decade ago. I used to be pretty good at it, and I got out of it a while back, and I've always found the mechanics of that game interesting. I have zero interest in, getting back into the card economy of buying cards, but I'm really excited for the Switch game that's coming out soon, where there are no microtransactions and it's just buy the game and then you can earn all the cards in game. So I've been excited to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I got invited to go see the World Championships, and I thought, this seems a good way to get my head around the new, where the game is at. It was, so the first day was interesting in that, just being direct, the first day I was there, all of the matches were held in absolute silence, long distance away from me, and I could not see what was happening, and the live stream that they had going out was on a 5-hour delay and buggy, so I didn't see much of the first day. But the second day, where they had a big live show going on, was really interesting. The first thing that I got really into was there was a duel on stage that lasted for about an hour, and it was all pre-scripted between the voice actors of the two main characters of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Ooh. So, Yugi and Kaiba's voice actors basically acted out in live action a duel the way they would go on the TV show. clearly the deck had already been pre-ordered, so like the voice actors knew exactly what card was going to be drawn to draw the match out for exactly an hour. But it was, as someone that really fucking loved that show growing up, it was quite magical to be in the room while that was happening.
Yeah.
They leaned very heavily into nostalgia for the really kind of cheesy stuff from the old show that I really enjoy. I got a blast out of hearing some of the songs from the original show that are terrible. Like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie had a song that was real angsty while a man's flying in a dragon-shaped jet, singing about how he's only got friends because he gives them money. It was angsty and terrible, and I kind of love it.
Okay.
It's cheesy and shit. There's another song where someone has to fight their rival. It's like, we're closer than brothers, but now we have to fight each other, and it's very cheesy and sad. But it played on my nostalgia, and I really enjoyed it. They also did a DJ set involving the theme tune of the original show, and again, cheesy and bad, but I was having a great time.
Yeah.
And then I watched the finals themselves. Both the child ranking and the adult ranking matches were basically the same sort of decks being played. It's this thing called a Salamangreat deck, where it's basically a bunch of these fire creatures that getting one out lets you get another out, lets you get another out, and they make this sort of chain combo thing that happens, and it was quite impressive to watch. The speed duels championships were a lot less interesting. They're structured as a best 3 out of 5, and you have to use a different deck for each of the 5. So the idea was, we'll see a bit more variation, we'll see some different deck types. The matches went over incredibly quickly. One match, a person played their first hand and the other person just surrendered. They were like, nope, that's too good of an opening move, can't do it. It was interesting, but it was over so quickly that I was a little bit disappointed. But I really enjoyed watching these Salamangreat mirror matches. They were a great way for me to sort of get my head around, okay, this is how the new mechanics work and how this sort of deck type works. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I had a very good time. And I came back with a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I can look at and go, that's pretty,
Oh, heck.
Heck.
So we're going to play some Yu-Gi-Oh at some point?
I think at some point, when we've got some time, we can play some Yu-Gi-Oh! I have some decks, and I now understand how all those fancy new types of summons work, so I can actually explain the current version of the game.
She's going to hassle me.
As opposed to what I did the first time, where we're like, we're going to use some decks that don't use any of those new mechanics, and we're going to talk about the rules as if only the old mechanics exist, because I did not know how to do anything else. Did you watch anything else this week? Did you put anything else in your eyes?
I did not.
I've got a couple of other things I can route through quickly. I watched that new Netflix special of Rocko's Modern Life, Static Cling.
I've heard and read good things about that.
Yeah, so for anyone who wasn't a person who watched Rocko's Modern Life back in the 90s, sort of mid to late 90s, it was an animated show about a wallaby and his friends, and basically they were all sort of social misfits in some way or another, trying to get by, facing, like, topical problems of the day, but also, like, late-stage capitalism. Like, they live in a town that's entirely run by O Corp, like, the one corporation that just owns and runs everything in their town. It was a really kind of sweet show. It was fairly progressive for its time, and it's been off the air for 20 years. Like, the last episode of that show ended with their house getting blasted off into space, and no more of the show ever got made. So this special, I don't want to talk too spoilery about it. It's only about 45 minutes long. It talks about accepting change in a lot of ways, and some of that is handled better than others. On the surface, there's discussions of things like, there's some very, like, not interesting jokes made about, there's a lot of Starbucks now, and Apple's bringing out phones quite frequently. Some jokes like that just feel like they've been done before. But the more interesting stuff they do is about the nature of trying to bring back old things when fans demand it. Trying to make those new things modern without upsetting the people who were asking for it back in the first place.
Which is almost impossible.
Exactly. There's some really interesting commentary on that. And there is some really good commentary on very, very current topics and about changing attitudes in the world that are tackled much more directly than I ever expected.
Yeah.
Particularly considering this is made by Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon has a history of hinting at topics and then leaving creators to discuss it more explicitly outside of shows. A great example being Korra and Asami's relationship at the end of The Legend of Korra, where they sort of walk off hand in hand into some light in the final episode, and it's sort of implied that maybe they have a romantic thing. And the creators then had to make a comic later to go, oh no, they kiss, they're in a relationship, this is explicitly a thing. So it was nice to see such a modern, divisive topic with changing attitudes addressed so positively and directly. And I think it's well worth watching. If you want to see a show accessible to kids that tackles a modern topic very, very well and very directly. I think that's a good way to talk about that without being too spoilery.
I would struggle to believe that anyone who has even a passing interest in Rocko's Modern Life hasn't already been spoiled on that at this point.
Oh yeah, no,
I have.
Yeah, I got spoiled. I think everyone's been spoiled. It's I don't think
But if you haven't, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, I don't think it's. A lot of people got very excited about this thing, and I don't think knowing the spoiler ruins it in any way, shape, or form. It's the journey of how they tell that story that's the interesting thing. But if you haven't been spoiled, just go watch it. It's real lovely.
If you have been spoiled, go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it. It's real lovely.
I want to.
And I think that's about it for things I've watched and put my. I did look at one other thing. I looked at clouds.
You did look at clouds.
Yeah.
We both looked at clouds.
Yeah.
Quite extensively.
Yeah, there were some
very nice clouds.
There's some very pretty clouds.
Yeah.
Some had real good shadows on them and were very fluffy.
Very, very fluffy.
There were some that rained. Those were not such good clouds.
No, I was not a big fan of those.
Not a big fan of those ones. Not a big fan of the ones that covered the sun either.
No, they were a bit chilly.
Yeah.
But, there was lots of different beautiful patterns and yeah, nice colourful clouds.
They were oddly fascinating.
Very.
So, time for this?
Time for this. Laura, we've got a new sponsor!
Who's our new sponsor?
This week's sponsor is Wine Club.
Oh, am I going to get, the ability to have those nice bottles of thing on my shelf to drink?
Well, you'll have bottles, certainly. You'll have a lovely bottle of wine.
Okay, tell me about the bottles of wine.
Okay, well, imagine that there is somebody who's upset you or just annoyed you, even minorly inconvenienced you.
Okay.
You just hand them a bottle, open it up, and just it'll give off a long, loud, audible whine just until they stop.
Oh, it's bottles that will whine at people for you.
A bottle of wine.
Oh, I see. Yeah, a bottle. Sorry, how did I mistake that? A bottle of wine.
Right.
So, how do I get these bottles of wine?
Just head over to bottle-of_wine.lol.net. And you can get a magnificent 5% of 6 bottles of wine.
Oh goodness, that's going to be enough to last me a whole evening.
Yep, just enter the code QNPS80 and you can get your discount on your wine. Wouldn't you like to wine?
I would.
Then let's get some wine.
Hello and welcome back to Queer and Pleasant News. Next up, we have an interview with this wonderful farmer. Could you introduce yourself?
I'm Margaret. I farms these hippies.
And what do you farm the hippies for?
Well, they are an excellent source of prismatic light. So I just collect all the rainbows off of them, and then I ship them out, get them distributed around. Bit of rain, nobody likes looking at the rain. Cheer that up a bit. Pop one of my fresh harvested rainbows, all organic rainbows. You can just pop them up anywhere you like.
Oh, wonderful! And how do you collect all these rainbows up and store them together?
Well, I've got this special side, you see. It just harvests them right up. So the rainbows start growing out the top of the hippie's head. When they make a connection with another hippie, then it comes down the other side, and then I just pops it off with my golden sight.
And do the hippies mind you harvesting their rainbows?
Oh no, they're very, very chill on account of all the marijuana I grow.
Thank you very much. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and let's pan the camera away from the marijuana.
So, what have you put in your ear?
Well, I've listened to a lot of music, and I might need your help because I don't remember the names of a lot of the music we listened to this week.
Oh, heck.
Can you give some names of some of the things we listened to?
So we listened to Parallel 7.
Which ones were they?
I think they were Chancy.
Oh, yes.
They had the MC and that female vocalist as well.
Oh, the lady that sung about how capitalism sucks.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I liked them.
Mm-hmm.
They did a lot of trancey music, but they also, they mixed in vocals, and as you were saying at the weekend, some tracks with MCs can be a bit abrasive.
Yes.
Sometimes you hear an MC and just go,
"Oh no,
I don't want you talking over my track. Just let me
stop talking
dance."
over all the good music."
But like, this lot really did a good job.
He wasn't constant, and like he was actually good at it.
Yeah, he wasn't just talking over the music. He was doing spoken word stuff in time with the music,
and he was doing it well.
Yeah,
rather than just waffling crap.
Exactly. He was. When he said something, it was for a reason, not just to be saying something.
Mm-hmm.
I was positive. I had a very positive experience with them.
Yeah, they were very good.
Who else did we listen to?
We ran across a field to go and hear Transglobal Underground.
Ah, yes, we were doing a walk around a field. It's like, oh no, we got to finish the walk. That's Transglobal Underground, and you sort of sprinted.
Like Temperhead's playing. We have to go. And we got in the tent. I was like, holy shit, that's Transglobal Underground.
I think when you started running, I think you just thought they were playing a track.
On.
It's like, nope, that is the band there.
Okay.
So yeah, how would you describe them?
Folksy trance, I guess.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to hear that level of trance music coming out of a band that looks like they should be playing like country music. To a degree, like that. Yeah. There's a lot of traditional instruments that you wouldn't expect to make those sort of electronic-y sounds.
No. Also, beautiful violin bow.
Oh yeah.
It was all sparkly and red.
Indeed, it was a proper good band to just have a stomp to.
Yeah. And the whole place was stomping.
Yeah, it was of all the music that happened over our weekend. I think it was the one that had the widest range of ages of people enjoying it.
Yes,
like there was a real sort of age spectrum that were having a good dance to that.
Yeah, I mean, like Transglobal Underground have been around since the 90s. They're classic dance music, and the fact that they're still at it and doing it so well. And willing to come to smaller events was very nice.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
Who else did we listen to?
We listened to Spinny Laney.
Oh yeah.
Who is the flute player.
Oh yes, the very
incredibly talented flutist.
Yes, they were doing flute over dancey music.
Yes. Live flute over dance music is always nice. I like Captain Flatcap for that as well. But yeah, Spinny Laney was incredible. Also, it was quite interesting throughout the weekend. There was a couple of times when other bands, like another band needed a flutist, so she stepped in for them. And then for one of the open mic mornings, I think it was on Sunday morning, there were like 4 people who'd never played together.
Oh, yes.
That got up together. So there was someone on like an electroacoustic bass. Someone on like an acoustic guitar, one of those drum box things that you sit on and tap, and Spinny Laney, just fluting for them. She's like, I don't know the song. I've never heard it before, and we've only played together once, like the practice session for this.
Yeah, and they did real good.
They did amazingly. It was really, really good. So yeah, very much enjoyed that. Jenny Maloney.
Which one was that?
You didn't see Jenny Maloney.
Was that while I was?
That was while you were doing
I was doing my laughing.
Yeah. Jenny Maloney has this amazing soulful voice. She just sits and plays guitar, and she did like a real soul version of Michael Jackson's Billie Jean.
Okay.
Which was quite incredible. And then like other sillier bits. She did a track called Put the Carrots Through, which is about using the self-service checkout at Morrison's to go, oh, a nice bit of fillet steak. I'll just put the carrots through. And I won't spoil it. It's a great song. If you can find it, I think it might be on the new album she was talking about coming out soon. But at the moment, all of her stuff is available on Jenny Maloney. That's with an IE, Jenny.
Yeah. That sounds really fun.
On SoundCloud.
Sounds fun.
It's all on there. It's lots of fun and silliness, and there's more sort of serious songs about like not waiting and just getting on and creating art. Yeah. It was really enjoyable. Amazing voice and good guitar skills, and it was fun to sit in a room full of, again, quite a large age split on that. And they put like loads of instruments out so the kids could sort of tap a bongo or shake a tambourine.
That's lovely.
Or some maracas. Yeah, it was great. And all the audience sort of joined in with those bits. Another one I think that might have been straight on after Jenny Maloney was Robin of Loopsley.
Ooh.
Who was a beatbox looper.
Oh.
So he had just this tiny little box on stage with him to record all his samples on. I've seen like Beardy Man do stuff, but obviously it's a slightly bigger setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a tiny little box, just plugged everything in and beatboxed through a few tracks.
Heck.
Mostly original stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, it was fun and silly. I believe that's on the Robin of Loopsley YouTube channel.
Lovely.
So you can check some of that out.
I think we got a couple of other bits, haven't we?
Yeah, so there was a track on Saturday night I'm desperate to find.
Yeah, we can't find this.
Yeah, maybe someone listening will know. So it's a mashup of the Cantina Band from Star Wars and Jump Around by the House of Pain.
Yeah. It was it was a very silly thing to experience, but it was great fun.
Like, what? Who did this? It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a really pounding track.
I can't understand how someone got there, but it's amazing.
Yeah, so, yeah.
If someone can find that mashup, it exists out there somewhere.
It is a really pounding beat, and I love it.
And there was one other artist we saw.
Yeah, so last night we saw Banco de Gaia.
Yeah.
Who did a very beautiful trance set.
Yeah. He's been doing music for many a year.
30 years now.
Yeah. He put on a heck of a set.
He did put on a heck of a set. Lots of sort of quite watery sounds in there towards the end.
Yeah.
Like, and it did feel sort of mysterious and underwater for that.
A lot of very floaty stuff.
Yeah, very nice.
It was the kind of thing that's nice to have a good sway bop to.
Yeah, it was great. Some of it was a bit more pacey, and that was great earlier on. But yeah, it was a nice progressive set, sort of going through like faster paced stuff, and then slowing down a bit, and then right into that sort of relaxed final hour. It was great.
Yay. Well, I think that's everything I've listened to.
I think that's everything I've listened to.
So, time for this.
Yeah. Have you been to a 3-day festival?
As a matter of fact, I have.
Have you forgotten your wet wipes?
Yeah, I'm really starting to get that festival funk.
Just got home and discovered you're covered in grease, grime, rust stains and ground in dirt?
Gosh, 3 days of this will take forever to scrub off.
Try Silid Bang Festive Frunk Spray. Just spray down your disgustingly dirty flesh, leave for 5 minutes and rinse off with no need for scrubbing. Throw out your Brillo pads and get some Silid Bang Festive Funk Spray. Bang! And the cow shit and grass stains on your feet are gone.
Here in the High Street, we see a wonderful example of an amazing creature, such as only comes out on Thursdays and Fridays.
Too prepared, too prepared.
The mating call of the market vendor echoes out across the street.
Lovely nanas, lovely nanas.
It appears they have attracted a mate.
Pound upon it, pound upon it.
And now they trade brown paper bags, each with a selection of fruit in, and it seems to be working.
Here's your change, here's your change.
Absolutely beautiful.
Do you want to know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social justice warriors.
Ah.
All right, Harry.
All right, Bang. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, mate, not too bad. You been up to much?
Oh, I've had a nice weekend out in the sun. It's been lovely.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, also, managed to get out a bit, enjoy the weather. It was, real nice.
Yeah. How's your week been? Anything on your mind?
Well, it's, one thing I did notice.
Yeah.
There was this family, extended family out together, mum, dad, couple of kids, grandparents.
Yeah.
And granddad was just tickling one of the kids.
Yeah.
And at first it was all laughing and stuff. But, after a while, kids seemed to be getting a little bit, overstimulated and was no, stop, and they didn't, and it got me thinking about the fact that there needs to be consent for children. That needs to be respected when they say you stop doing the thing. Even if it is something playful like that, adults need to respect that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where we have conversations sometimes, you and I, about consent and the importance of boundaries. But a lot of that does start with childhood, and there are certain things that you do have to stop your kids doing, whether they're happy or not. If they're going to go touch
the oven.
don't touch the oven, for example. But stuff like, say, tickling them is a really important case where there's, if they ask you to stop, it's doing no harm to stop. You need to respect their boundaries, because that, teaches them lessons for future. As a great example I heard someone talk about once, where a lot of times you'll have this sort of situation with extended families. I know I had this growing up, where you say you're leaving your aunt and uncles or your grandparents, and the parent will be like, give them a kiss, and child might say, oh, I don't want to.
No.
And there might be some pressure to go, no, don't be rude, kiss them. That's a real bad precedent to set in terms of, teaching kids basic consent boundaries, because, worst case scenario, you could end up with a situation where that kid does not want to kiss that adult in a more dangerous situation and, doesn't feel like they have the ability to say no, for example.
Yeah, because at that point they've already been taught a lesson by their parents who they trust that... that their consent with that adult means nothing.
Well, exactly, and that's the precedent you set with that tickling example. It's the you set the example to them that in some situations they do not have the right to autonomy over their body to say, no, I do not like being touched like this.
Yeah,
please stop.
Yeah,
and it might seem like a harmless thing, but it makes it difficult to later on express why it's important to say, if someone says no to you, you stop.
Well,
if you've not set that example yourself as an adult.
Yeah, and I don't understand why people seem to think that children are exempt from that. Everyone should have a right to bodily autonomy.
There's no age at which you're like, okay, now you're allowed bodily autonomy. No,
right.
It's if at any age, if someone, if you're doing something and it's an optional thing. It's not something that's going to harm them to do or not do.
Yeah.
And they ask you to stop. You should respect that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Give them the ability to control,
to know that they're allowed to say no, and that's okay.
Quite right.
Yeah. Should we have a hug?
Yeah, let's have a hug, mate.
If you ever want to say no to that hug, it's totally okay.
Absolutely, mate. No,
Exactly.
I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm knackered.
Yeah, same. Long weekend.
Yeah. Might have a nice herbal tea and then hit the bed.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Right.
Laura!
Yes?
Where can we find you on the internet, darling? Laura K. Buzz in all the places.
All the places.
Yeah, Laura K. Buzz. Laura K. Buzz on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Laura K. Buzz on Patreon. That's the one that pays the bills. Please consider chucking me $1 a month if you are able. You can find me on laurakbuzz.com. That is where all of my things get posted. No matter where I post them, I'll put a link on laurakbuzz.com. You can find a lot of my writing on Sci-Fi Fangirls. You can get my my first book, Uncomfortable Labels, which is in many places where books are sold. You can get the audiobook version, which is a DRM-free audiobook, from laurakbuzzstore.com. If you support me on Patreon, drop me a message and I will give you a discount code for the audiobook. You can also find me on Dice Funk. It's a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. I'm on seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can check out my upcoming book, Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. And I think that's the big things. What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
I can be found on Twitter and YouTube as Maniac Janiac. StoneMonkeyRadio.blog, where I occasionally write things. And oh god, let's see where else I am. I'm on twitch.tv/Janiac, where I usually do live streams on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. I can be found on patreon.com/StoneMonkeyRadio. And thank you very much to my Patreons. Thank you to Cassiopeia Swift, to Basin is Back, Jaden, J. Logan, Jürgen Indie Monster Wine McForder. Liam the Ghost Cat will use ectoplasmic and then it cuts off. Robert Robbeard Harding, Tales of Inquiry. Thank you all so much. Also, paypal.me/Jane Magnet if you just want to send me some pennies.
Heck.
That's always very much appreciated because it's nearly that time of year when I have to pay my
Your
website
hosting bills, yeah.
Well, it's a thing. That's pretty much everywhere. Curiosity Epidemic on all the audio places because that badly designated heroes.
Heck.
We've finished recording the first season, and I think the last episode goes up in a couple of weeks.
Heck. And then we start preparing for a new thing.
Yes, we're going to do a second series of polyamory.
Heck.
But I will be doing that for Curiosity Epidemic rather than for my own thing. So there is that. And keep your ears peeled for more news on those things. So, sing us out, darling.
Until next time, be a stranger.
I will.
Robo touchy titty.
No, there's a for me and Jane.
Jane has lost hand and now been replaced with the robo hand.
And Robo mouth and brain, it sounds like.
No, I'm being silly because I now have a robo hand. I love you, my darling.
I love you too.